Hello, I'm Mark Troiano with Emerson Swan. Today we're down at HTP's training facility, and we're going to talk a little bit about our Elevate 55-gallon electric water heater. Manufacturers can no longer make a residential 80-gallon electric water heater. Obviously there's a lot of energy efficiency that they're looking to go to with heat pumps and everything else. However, there's still a huge market for electric water heaters, whether it be replacement or new installations, where heat pumps just aren't the answer. So without the ability to offer a residential 80-gallon water heater, HTP came out with our Elevate water heater. And basically it's a 55-gallon water heater that we can drive the temperature up and produce the same output as an 80-gallon or a 100-gallon water heater. And basically we're doing that with stored temperature. So as we increase that stored temperature and we use a mixing valve, an ASSE 1017 mixing valve, we can take that 55-gallon stored volume and create 80 gallons of usable hot water. And basically we're just doing that with our stored temperature. So a standard water heater, you're storing it at 125 or 130 degrees, and you're mixing it out at your pressure balance or your thermostatic mixing valve at your shower, and you're generally drawing anywhere between 105 to 108 degrees in that shower. Well, if we increase that stored temperature from 125 to 150, and now I'm mixing it down to 105 at my shower valve, I have more stored volume or more energy that I can use to produce that 105 degrees at my fixture. 316L stainless steel tank, elements, same 240 volt. What we did do is we went from 4,500 watt to 5,500 watt. So it gives us a little bit more recovery than a standard electric water heater, but we maintain that 240 volt. And even at the 55 kW, we still stay under that 30 amp breaker that your standard 4,500 watt, 240 volt standard electric water heater has been for years. Add in the ASSE 1017 mix valve. You can see it's already piped in. There's nothing that the contractor has to do when he installs this. It's actually preset to 120 degrees. You can make adjustments on that mixing valve if you need to. But what we also did inside the tank, generally, you have your cold water come into the tank, and there's a dip tube on that cold water side. And that water travels down the dip tube to the bottom of the tank. And when it hits the bottom of the tank, it wants to roll up the sides of the tank. Well, what we did was we actually took a 2-inch piece of stainless steel and we made a baffle at the bottom of the tank. So when that water hits the bottom and tries to roll up, we actually fold it down back to the bottom of the tank. That keeps that cold water at the bottom of the tank longer. So that keep my stored temperature up top, where I'm going to stack most of my heat up there longer. So I'm not going to dilute that tank as quickly. Generally in a stainless steel tank, we don't have an anode rod, but seeing that we can go up to about 170 degrees on our stored temperature, on this tank, we actually added an anode rod because we know when we jack up that stored temperature, water becomes more aggressive. So it's an added safety feature or protection for the tank. You see 3 here, but basically you got an element in the thermostat, a thermostat, and then your bottom element. All right, so there's not 3 elements in this heater. There's still only 2 elements in this heater. So a couple advantages of the 55-gallon versus a standard 80-gallon. Obviously our height, right? So I can fit this in more applications because I don't have to worry about my ceiling height. The ability to actually turn this up or turn it down based on what I need on the domestic side, right? You got a couple kids, you're using a lot of hot water, you got this thing cranked up. Kids go off to school, you don't necessarily need that volume of water anymore. You can turn this down. Residentially, out of the box with this heater, you're gonna get a 10-year warranty. If the homeowner or the contractor goes on and registers this product, there's no charge for this. They will receive a lifetime warranty. With that said, if you'd like more information, feel free to visit emersonswan.com, or you can contact our office and talk to someone in inside sales. We'll be happy to give you more information.